Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's Quita. If you're new here, so glad that you stopped by to join me for another video. So today I thought I would do a follow-up to my last video, which is about meal planning and recipe keeping and kind of how I do that, and share with you how I create sample meal plans, which makes life so much easier. So that's what we're doing today. But first, if you're new here, I hope you'll stick around and consider subscribing, and also give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoy it. So let's jump in. If you want to make your life a lot simpler when it comes to meal planning, menu planning, stay tuned. You're going to want to see this. Okay, again, this is my meal and recipe keeping planner. You guys saw me put this together on the last video. So this is going to be just a quick video to share with you how I do my sample meal plans. When you do sample meal plans, I'm telling you, on those weeks when you just don't feel like coming up with the menus, you can just pull from what works and just implement that into your week, and it makes just life so much easier. So I like doing that from time to time. When I'm not feeling motivated and I'm not feeling inspired by anything, then I'll just go ahead and pull a sample menu, which I have already created, and I will use that for the week. So this is my recipe keeper, and I keep them in here, and this is where I pull from, and I put them in my catch-all planner, which is here in that particular week, so that way I could see that menu. And so let me show you how that would look for me. So I do have that sort of same setup in here as well. And these are my task cards. So it's kind of like a task card, but it's smaller. We have a ton of varieties of these in the shop. Order trackers, goals, meal planning. We've got a lot of these paper task cards that work so well. So I would keep that here at the top. As you can see, there's a blank one here ready to be written in. I always keep a blank one in because I don't do this every single week, because a lot of weeks I am inspired and I am wanting to try new things. And so I only implement these on those lazy weeks. It's not always a lazy week. Let me take that back. It can be a week where I am feeling inspired, but I just want to just reach for something that I know is going to work. But I keep that in there just so I can have one there ready to go in my planner, just in case I don't have this available to me. I do have one in stock here in the planner, but this will be replaced with the actual menu card that I do have written in with that sample menu. I do also have a meal planning section, and so I'll explain to you kind of how the whole system works as well if you didn't see my last video. Okay, so again, we're here. I do have a couple of menus in here. As you can see, this is just one of our frosted no tab dashboards. So I stuck one of our adhesive pockets to it. There's a pocket on both sides. It's filled with blank meal cards or menu cards. And so I can go ahead and fill those in. And eventually what I'm going to do is add a few more of these to the planner, so that way I could see these visually in front of me. So there'll be like several pages of these just, stacked front and back of each other. So that way I can see them. I can see what's on the menu card, and I can reach for the one that I actually want without having to pull multiple of them out. And so this one has meals on it, and this one has meals on it. So I've got two sample meal plans so far. So as you can see, it's really cool. And so what happens is you're going to come here and you're going to go ahead and fill in breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the whole entire week, and then store it. Or you can go ahead and tuck it into your planner where I just showed you in my catch-all planner. Tuck it in, and you know that this is what you're having for the week. And then when you're done with it, you're going to pull it out and put it back in here. And so that way you have it again for the next time. And so as you can see, I cook Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And sometimes on the weekends, just depends on how I feel. Saturday I do, but Sunday typically we eat out. But I've got everything filled in. It makes it super easy. And so now I can go ahead and create my grocery list based on these items that I know I'm going to cook. You can take it a step further, and you can have stored in here already pre-filled in grocery lists, which would make it even easier. I'm going to show you another way that you can do the same process, an actual menu planning sheets that we have available as well. But I love the card method because it's easy, it's compact, and you can just store it in here. You can see it in front of you, and then you can just pull one that works for that week. You can even number them if you want, maybe up here in the corner or on the back, so that way when you're writing it in on your grocery list, you have a 1 here and you have a 1 on your grocery list. So that would be, for me, somewhere back here. I have half sheet, ooh, maybe not, right here. So that's my shopping list inserts right here. I have them for the breakdown, and then I have them just standard shopping lists. So you could write the number here, and then that way you know that this recipe card corresponds with this shopping list. And so you would pull this and this, and you would take it over to your planner, pop it in, or just go ahead and do everything all at once and only pop this in. And then you execute these recipes for the week, and then you put it back in here. You keep your shopping list, so that way you have it already ready. You don't have to fill out a shopping list. You don't have to come up with the menu. It's already done for you. And so that's the brilliance of these. So I really, really love these, and I'm excited about getting some more menus written in. And that is going to just help me out so much on those busy days, those lazy days, and those days where I'm not feeling inspired. I just want to pull from a menu that I know works. So when you're filling out these cards, you want to kind of write in recipes that you know that your family loves, or that you guys love if you're just, yourself and your husband, because you want to make sure that it's a menu plan that you like. So I would definitely try to stick to what works in that sense as well. And so again, pop this in here. Now, if you do have those weeks where you have written this in and you didn't like that particular recipe, then what I would do is I would just not use that as a sample menu. Self-explanatory, right? You only want to use these for sample menus for recipes that you know you're actually going to enjoy. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to include it as a sample menu. And so that's kind of how the meal planning cards work. These are 2x3, so they're business card size, so they fit in any business card holders. I do have these available also in the shop where you could store them in. And then I also have these, which are a super popular item in the shop. You can put a little decal here. I am coming up with some more recipe things in the shop, so stay tuned. We do have a meal planning collection in the shop that I'm constantly adding things to. I did add some things last night, and I'm going to be showing you guys coming soon some things that are coming, but there are going to be decals here that you could purchase that say family recipe or recipe, so you could just put that on the front here, and you can store all these cards in here if you would like. It's completely up to you. I like having them here. I like them having all in my recipe keeper, because I just feel like this is where I can go one-stop shop to do it all. But if you just want a separate storage, you can do this. If you don't want your recipe planner to get too bulky, you can do this as well. So this has got a ton of sheets in them. This is perfect for our task cards in general. So that's a storage solution. And then again, this is another storage solution, which is very similar to that. It just has a leather cover. And then these, like I said, are my favorite, because you can just take a frosted dashboard or a paper dashboard, and you can stick an adhesive pocket on the front and then just slide them in. And then I have some other things coming to the shop as well that you could use to store these. It's pretty much up to you with how you want to store them. I just think this is such a sleek and sophisticated look, and it allows you to see the recipe front and back. So I have one on the back and one on the front. You could also not put one on the back, and then you could turn the card and flip it over, and you could still see it on the other side. So it's completely up to you. So this is my favorite method. This is what I'm going to be using to go ahead and write in more sample menus. I only have 2 in here for now, because I have been feeling pretty inspired to just come up with new recipes, and I've been doing it my way that I typically do it. But this is genius, and I just love it. And so again, it's so easy to just pull that out. You decide, again, I would number it, especially if you're going to do the shopping list method, because you want to know what shopping list this corresponds to, and doing the shopping list is just going to make this process even more brilliant and easier. And then you just may want to number it in general, because then when you go to your planner for the week, you can just write menu 1. You're going to have it here, and this may be in your weekly view. For me, I have this in my weekly view, and I eventually do want to put the task cards here. I just kind of like seeing through to the other side, but still having a way to identify that this is my week spread. But you could come here and just write meal or menu number 1, menu number 2, as opposed to tacos and whatever else. So you could do that as well. And then also in my meal planning section, I do have my 2020 meal planner at a glance. You could do the same thing here for September. You could do menu number 1, menu number 2, or Or you could still write it out, but still do the same method if you prefer to just see exactly what it is that you're having for that week. Same thing on the weekly spread. If you prefer to see exactly what you're having, you could do that as well. But I would definitely say to number it, so that way you see this shopping list in here would say menu number 1. So I would know that this should be menu number 1 as well. And everything just kind of works together. And then when you're storing it, you have the meal planning card that lines up with the shopping list. I think that's the best way to do it. Okay, so that is one way, by using the meal planning cards or the menu planning cards. This is my preferred method, using the meal planning cards or menu planning cards with the shopping list and just writing the number. But you could also, if you prefer to just have it on paper, you could use our meal planning foldovers. Now, if you remember, I talked about these in the last video. They're fold outs because you can fold the shopping list and tear it off and take it with you to the grocery store. So it's up to you, or you could cut it out. I don't really do that too much because I don't go to the grocery store. I order all my stuff online, so I leave it intact. And so what you could do with this is the same way on the recipe card. You would come here, you would write in whatever that meal is that you're having for that day on each of the days of the week, and then go ahead and write in your shopping list for that. So one thing to keep in mind though when it comes to the shopping list is that if you're adding random additional things to the shopping list, like tissue or soap or whatever have you, that stuff is going to stay on here in the sample meal plan. So if I were you, I wouldn't write those things in. I would have another shopping list of things that you need outside of the meal, and that is what I would write that on, and then I would just keep that separate, because you want to make sure that what's on here is for the actual meal here. And then when it comes to the back of them, you can still write the items that you have on hand, or you could use this as a reference for items you typically would have on hand. It's completely up to you. You don't have to use this page at all if you feel like that's not going to work for you, because this is going to be a sample meal plan, which means it's going to be always in here. You may not always have those pantry items on hand, or fridge items, or freezer items, or whatever. So you don't have to use this side of the page. You can just only use this side of the page. So this is just the method. If you prefer to write on a sheet, you want it in here like this as opposed to on a card, you could use this method as well. But again, I love sample meal plans because they just work so well to already have it written in. So all of these pages would be pre-filled in with all of your meals and all of your items that you need to purchase for that meal. You could just come here. You could say, okay, this meal plan looks good. So let's go ahead and pull this out. And let's put it in our catch-all planner, and then let's go to our meal planning year at a glance, and let's write in those items that we're having for that day. Or if you're numbering it, this would say meal plan number 1, and then you would come here and you'd write meal plan number 1. So you know that you're having meal plan number 1 for that week. And I would keep them in order in your recipe keeper, so that way they're in order and it's easy to find them, and that's going to work out the best for you. So you still want to pull this out and put it in your catch-all, because you're not going to be lugging this all around everywhere. You just need to pull this out one time, and then you need to go ahead and put it in your catch-all planner. Okay, so then now when it comes to the recipe cards for this, what I would do is I would number the recipes maybe here in the top corner, and then I would number the recipe cards. So that way you know that this is recipe number 1. However your system is, that is going to work best for you is what you would do. But I would probably just number it. You can even color code it if you want. And I would put the number here up at the top, and then put the number up here in the corner. So that way I know that I'm pulling recipe card number 1, recipe card number 3, recipe card number 7. And that is what I'm going to take along with this and put it in my planner. So I'll have the recipe cards for the week, I'll have the meal planning for the week, and I'll have the shopping list for the week. I mean, isn't that so perfect? So also stay tuned that I am coming out today with some new recipe cards that are going to be on the linen cardstock. This is a linen cardstock. If you've seen it before, you know it kind of has a texture to it. It's really, really beautiful. And so they're going to be 4x6 recipe cards. And then I've got some recipe card protectors that are in the shop now that will be available to protect your recipe cards. And then I have a storage box that's coming soon that you'll be able to store your recipes in. So I'm really excited about the whole menu planning and recipe keeping collection in the shop, because you guys know it is my favorite part of planning. So I think that's going to be awesome. So then you'll be able to pull those recipe cards out of that system as opposed to these if you prefer that. I kind of like both because I do like writing it out, but I also can see how that filing system is going to work really well as also, so I'm excited for that. And so you could also do the same method by numbering it here if you would like. It's a little bit tight on these pages, so I'm not sure if I would number them here, but you could put a number next to whatever that recipe is in each little square here. And then you know that the omelet is going to be on recipe card number 7 or whatever you decide. You also will have the recipe you will also have the meal planning number up here in the corner, so don't get that confused. And the meal planning and the menu planning number is going to help you out when you're doing your grocery list. So don't get too confused with numbers. Keep it simple. I would just number this for the recipe card. I'm not sure if I would number next to each one, but you do have a little bit of space, so you could do that if you'd like. It would make things a lot simpler because then you know that a smoothie is going to be on recipe card this, and then you know that this is menu plan number 1, so that you could go ahead and pull the correct shopping list that you already have filled out as well. So it just depends on where you want to take this thing, how easy you want to make your life. It's completely up to you, but I love the whole idea of having menus already planned out for the week. It just makes life so much simpler, I'm telling you. So I would definitely try to implement this system, whether it be on the cards here or whether it be on these recipe pages in the back, the meal planning pages in the back. Either system works great. And so again, just to explain the process, either take a card and go ahead and start pre-filling in menus. I pull lots of menus from Pinterest and just different things I know work. I also have a lot of recipe cards already filled in. I know if they're filled in as recipe cards, they work. And so I'll go ahead and fill these out. I'm gonna have a few pages of these in here stacked in back of each other, so that way I could see the recipes all on one page, or not the recipes, but the menu plan all on one page. I can flip it and say, okay, I'll take that one. I'm going to pull the card out. I'm going to put it in my catch-all planner and the section that it goes in, which is for me. I put it right here in the monthly section. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to pop it in right here, so that way I have that menu for the week. And then I am going to come here to my weekly section. I'm going to write in whatever I decided that I'm going to have, whether it be menu number 1 based on whatever number I wrote on the card, or it's going to say whatever that item is that I'm cooking. And then I'm going to come here to my 2020 menu at a glance for that particular month, find the date and write in whatever I am having, whether it be menu number 1 or whether it be the exact item. And then I'm done as far as that goes. Then I'm going to also pull those recipe cards. Now remember, if I didn't write the number in next to the actual item, then I'm just going to be having to flip through and find whatever the recipe is. And so I'll pull that recipe out. It'll be 3 because I cook 3 times a week. So I'll pull those 3 recipes out. Remember, I already have the card, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that in the section, meal planning section, so that way I have the recipe cards ready to go. Now, if I didn't create recipe cards, I'm going to go ahead and create the recipe cards for these. But if I have them already created, that's perfect. I can just pull them out and go ahead and put them in my planner once again. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the shopping list if it's not created, or I am going to pull the shopping list if I've already created it. And so then once you have all your recipes, you've got your shopping list, you've got your card in your planner, you're pretty much ready to go. Now, if you're doing the other method, then you're going to pull this meal plan. It's already going to have the shopping list attached to it, which is awesome. So you've got your meal plan already written in, you've got your shopping list, and then if you've numbered each recipe, then you know which recipe card to pull from. If you haven't done that on here, then you really won't know. You'll have to kind of flip through to see which recipe card to pick from as far as these go. Then you'll pick based on that. But if you have them written in here in each square, it makes it easier to find that recipe. So with this particular method, you'll have this, and then you'll have your recipe card. You won't need this side shopping list because it's already here. So you only have 2 things. You'll have this, and well, you'll have more based on the recipe cards. And then you'll pull all of that, the recipe cards and this, and you'll put that in your planner. You'll still do the same thing by writing it in here, just so you know on a weekly glance. You'll still write it on your calendar, just so you know what we're having for that week. You won't have a card to stick in that little sleeve. You'll have that page. You'll have this page to pop into your planner. And remember to keep it, and remember not to write random items on here, because this menu and grocery list should all be cohesive and work together. And you don't want any outside things, because you may not need that at that particular time. So you may want to create a separate list. Like I have in my planner, I have a list of things we always need. I shouldn't need anything else outside of that I need to write in, but I think you guys saw that in the last video. But I have, oh, it's in my menu planning section. So that is where I keep like items to always have on hand. And then anything like snacks or anything like that, we do like to have it on hand, but I may not necessarily write it on here. I can write it on a separate little piece of paper or a separate grocery list. It's completely up to you with how you want to handle that, but I would definitely not write it on the shopping list for that particular menu. Otherwise, it's going to get confusing. I hope I didn't confuse you today. Make sure to ask me any questions that you have. This system has been working really well for me. I didn't always have the card system. This is kind of something new to my shop. I used to do sample menus before, but I didn't always do it this way. But this is a more streamlined way, in my opinion, to having sample menus. And I think having sample menus is just awesome. It works for me, and I want to impart that information to you. And I think that the best idea is to store it all in some sort of recipe keeper, with the exception of what you're actually going to have for dinner that week. Important stuff that you need to know in terms of meal planning for that week, as opposed to cramming it all in here. Now, if you can cram it all in here, more power to you. I can't, because my planner is so bulky, but you don't want to have all the recipe cards in here. But maybe if you can store more of the sample menu in there, you may want to do that. More of this stuff in here. It's completely up to you with how you want to do that. I just like having it here, and then I like pulling from it here and sitting down with these two planners on a Sunday and then do my menu planning. And I know that whatever is in here is most accurate, and this is what I need to focus on and look at for that particular week. So everything's done. So I love sample menus. I just think that they work so well for the family, especially if you have a large family, to not always have to write in and come up with ideas of what to make for the week. Just reach for that meal planning card, y'all. And I'm telling you, your life will be a lot simpler on those weeks that you just don't feel like coming up with any meals. You just want to pull a card out and say, this is what we're having. I know my family likes it. And otherwise I wouldn't have it stored in my sample menus, and it's just going to work for this week. So that's what we're going to have. Okay. And so I thought I would share that with you because it's just been something that's been working so well for me. I hope I didn't confuse you in this video. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. And remember, in terms of storage, these are a great option. If you don't want to do the dashboard and adhesive pocket idea, these are some other storage options. I have a couple of other things coming to the shop as well for recipe keeping. I'm going to load up that collection with things I love, and hopefully you guys love them as well. I love menu planning, recipe keeping, cooking. It's just my thing. And as much information as I can give you to help you. This is a community, so hopefully you'll share with me things that have worked for you as well. But this is something that I definitely wanted to share with you guys today. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. You got a little inspiration out of it. You found maybe a system that could work for you, which means you'll give me a thumbs up on this video and also consider subscribing to my channel. I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. Make sure to comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll also be in my Facebook group answering questions, so make sure to join us there at Fancy Plans Co. We would love to have you. We have been just doing a lot over there, and I just really love the interaction that we've been having. So hopefully you'll join us there as well. So again, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you'll come back and catch another one, in which case I'll see you then.